Hello, my name is Bradley and I'm your host of The Internal Game. So a little while back, I made a video about your state of being always implying something. And I was saying that if you were to vocalize your state of being, what is it saying? And it was SP related, so I'm gonna keep this video SP related. And I was pretty much saying that if you were in a state of desperation, need, feeling incomplete, like an incomplete state, and you're constantly looking to the outside, waiting for a text, waiting for calls, looking to see what person's doing or what they're not doing, right? And you're just got yourself in a frenzy. What is your state of being saying? If your state of being was to be vocalized to that person, right? If your state of being was to walk up and knock on this person's door, and your person answers the door, and your state of being is just like, hey, just want you to know, I think about you all the time. All the time. You don't even understand. I think about you all the time. I'm obsessed with you. And I can't think about anything else but you. And I know, trust me, I know I take responsibility. I know that I caused the split, or I caused the you're not talking to me with my fear, my worries and doubts and insecurities, because I got lots of them and stuff, but I was projecting them onto you, and I was viewing you through this, and then you started to reflect that back, as everyone is ourself pushed out. It's this thing that I've been learning. It's called law of assumption, but Neville got it. But don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I'm actually manifesting you back, and I'm manifesting you in general. And so I just want you to know just that how much I love you, and how much I focus on you, and I don't even think about anything else, and I put my whole life on a back burner. I don't even do anything. I couldn't even tell you what my hobbies are. I just think about you, and it's gonna be okay though, because I'm getting better, and I found some channels, and it's really helped me through it. But we're gonna be together. I live in the end with you in my imagination. At least I think I do. But I'm still feeling really fearful. So I just want to see what are you doing? Have you been thinking about me? Have you do you love me like I love you? Because I've been affirming that you love me like I love you. And pretty much what that means is I affirm that you love me, and then you think that it's your thought, and you think that you love me because everyone is yourself pushed out, and then you're just a reflection of me. So I've been saying it. So do you love me? You don't? You do? And I'm not here to poke fun. I've been in these states before, but what I'm saying though is that a lot of times we're not really noticing what we are actually doing within, right? I get lots of comments, lots of them, and I love all the comments, and I've lots of one-on-ones, and a lot of times, including myself back in the day, we aren't doing what it is that we think that we're doing. It's because we're affirming I am chosen, I'm a priority, I'm this, I'm that. Doesn't mean that we're actually being that, right? This is a game of being, right? And just I've shared since I've started this stuff, you can affirm things in for sure, but if you don't change how you're being and how you view yourself, it's a matter of time before the whole thing happens again. So anyway, if you're saying I'm a priority, and all your focus and all your attention, all your extra time, even the time you spend at work or something that's trying to manifest this person, it sounds like they're the priority. That is that sounds like they're the priority. If you're saying that you're the most important in your life, it sounds like they're the most important person in your life. So I just wanted to get on here and be real clear about nothing wrong with affirming. But who are you being? What is your state of being saying? Because what your state of being is, whatever your state of being is how you're perceiving the world. If you are in a fearful, desperate, incomplete state, that's what you're feeling. You're not clearly seeing a situation. You are seeing it through the lenses of fear and incompleteness and desperation and really needing something to happen. And because your state of being is felt by everything and everyone, including the person that you have all this awareness on, they can't really come. That's probably why you see a lot of maybe hot and cold, or you could tell that they're over there, and they're just not really wanting to talk to you. And you're but I tell myself they love me, and I know they love me. Well, maybe they do. They probably do. But how you're being is not like a living in the end of a healthy relationship or a relationship in general. It's how you're being when you're desperate, needy, incomplete, have all this awareness on this person. You got all that state of being, just like focusing on what that state of being, like that, is living in the end of of what's happening right now, of them being distant, of them being maybe even considered cold, because of course you're going to consider them as cold when they're not tuning into you because they can't. And then a lot of times, most times, in these states like of fear, desperation, incompleteness, we are feeling really, really separate from this other person. Really, really separate from life in general. Really separate from, just everything. Even though we're not. And we think that our state of being is just entirely, I mean, it's your own, but I mean that what you're doing is not being felt by them, and it is. And then because you feel separate, like there's a lot of blame comes out, a lot of like, man, they're doing this though, and they're doing this. You got all this hyper focus because you got your fearful states, and you're in little judgment states of them and what they're doing, and why it's affecting you, and why you have to react, and like they used to not be like this, but now they're this, like on all these stories, and it's all just playing the fuck out. So when I say things like you have to get yourself stable, it's because I know until you get stable, you're going to perceive everything as a threat. You're going to perceive it, like you're going to create little meanings to things that are equivalent to that state of being, of fearful, of desperate, of not being chosen, of not being a priority, because you're not being one. You're making them chosen. You're making them the priority. You're making them the most important thing in your life. You can tell yourself that all you want. But if you're walking around with all your awareness and every minute, or at least most minutes of your waking day, trying to manifest somebody, then how are you the most important? Their priority. They've taken priority in your life. And it was probably like that before something unfavorable happened. You probably had a lot of awareness on them. A lot of creating a lot of meaning that lined up with an end that you did not want to experience, but were fearful it was going to happen. So you kept trying to, I guess, not be fooled, and just viewed them through viewed them this way, and then they reflected it. Someone asked me in a one-on-one today, I was like, well, how come like it seemed like it was so easy, or was easier to view them in a not so favorable light, and then that happened, how come that was easier to do than it is to like view them in a better light? And it's like, well, because you have to change how you see yourself. It may seem like it was easier to view somebody in a, I guess, negative light, unfavorable light, create a bunch of unnecessary, unfavorable meaning to what they were doing or not doing that was in alignment with them leaving, them ghosting, them finding somebody else, all these different things. It may seem like it was easy to do that, but it was just more natural for you to do that because you didn't believe highly about yourself. You didn't believe favorably about yourself. So even if a person was telling you like they love you and all these things, which they probably were, you didn't really quite buy it, and it just wasn't quite enough to really validate you, because no one can validate you if you don't really validate yourself. You're not going to believe it, and it's never going to be enough. So then on this side, to, I guess, manifest them back, or to get someone in general, or get rid of third party, all that doesn't really matter. You want to start thinking more highly of yourself. You want to change how you view yourself. You want to actually stop buying into an old identity that is absolutely useless, because none of those things that you once thought were true about yourself are true. None of them. Not one of them. So you want to step into a frame of actually being a priority, doing your goals, your hobbies, your things that you like to do, hang out with friends. You actually want to be the most important person in your life, and you actually want to be chosen. Where this relationship is natural to you. Where if somebody told you, hey, like if that person texted you and said, hey, listen, I've been thinking about you, like it wouldn't be too damn surprising. Your whole heart wouldn't drop when you saw a text message from them. Your whole stomach would be like, oh my God, I want to say the right thing, and am I going to say the right thing? Like I don't want to say too much, because if I don't say too much, but then I don't want, like, no, you wouldn't do that. It would be normal for you. See, before, when you lost somebody or they ghosted or all whatever the transpired, that was more normal for how you saw yourself. That's why Neville says that your self-concept is the most important viewpoint you can have, because everything's coming from this. So ideally, to make a smooth transition into a more favorable way of viewing self, you just have to doubt and see the illusion and see the lie of how you've been doing things, how you've been viewing things, and how you've been viewing people, and mainly yourself. And when you get those thoughts, like I talk about all the time, that's just a thought. Like when you get those thoughts that are like really, that could be deemed doubtful and be deemed against self, I guess. That are opposite of what you desire, you can say that it's just a thought, that is not me. I actually am this way now. I actually am this way now. And then be that way. Actually be a priority. Actually be a person who focuses on yourself. You're not going to lose them, I promise. And if you are scared of losing them, like I've talked about many times before, then this is probably why you're in the position that you're in the first place. By making them more important than you, and they have no choice but to show you that you're not that important. Why? Life makes no mistake, and always gives a man which man first gives himself. Why? There's no need to be mad at them for showing you that you're not important. You told them that you weren't. Maybe you didn't say it with your mouth, but you damn sure did with your state of being and your thoughts. You said, no, you're more important. No, you're the priority. Oh, I'm incomplete without you. And they're like, yeah, let me show you. Unconsciously, really, right? They're just reflecting. How the thing looks like in the first place is that you probably were incomplete. Probably were feeling like something was missing before you even met said person. You're the specific person. And then when you meet this person, and of course you're confident and loving, and there's no story with this person. There's no history with this person. There's no resentment. You're just having fun, living lightly, and they're doing the same. And because you were incomplete, the mind that likes to find identities in everything, and because you were feeling like something was missing, then all of a sudden you're happy, and then unconsciously you gave this person the job, the role of making you happy. And when you did that, and this actually happened when you became attached, by the way, when you actually said, okay, I really, really like this person, they make me happy, then you also gave them the role of making you unhappy. And just like Eckhart Tolle said, I talked about this a lot before, relationships do not make us happy or make us unhappy. They bring out the unhappiness that is already in us. It's just we can't see that in what some people call like the honeymoon phase and things like that. We can't really see that because we're just so happy because we live in light. We don't really have any skin in the game. It's just like, oh, it's a fun time. Now I'm happy. So then the relationship starts, you guys start talking more, start hanging out more, and then you're like, man, I really like this person. And then guess what? Whatever was in you, whatever unhappiness, whatever fear, whatever insecurities, whatever doubts were already in you, however you viewed yourself beforehand starts to come out and play. And it starts to view this person from your past, from how you see self, from like your insecurities, your fears, and you start viewing them this way. You start and then because you're feeling unhappy and incomplete, the same way you did well before you met them, because he or she made you happy, now you blame them for making you unhappy. Like, oh, well, you used to do this and now I'm unhappy, or you did this and now I'm unhappy because you used to not do that, and then, or you used to call me more and now you don't call me as much. What does that mean? Did you find somebody else? Whatever was in you is going to be brought up and projected, and then of course we're going to believe that people believe about us what we believe about us, and they're going to do what we fear and all this other good stuff. And it's reflected because everyone is ourselves pushed out, and you start assigning them this role by giving these little bitty meanings, like this means this means that, and oh, they're doing that means this, oh yep, knew it, and the next thing you know, they're gone. I found somebody else. And they were like, how come it's so much easier to lose them with the thoughts that it is to change and get them back with like, I guess, better thoughts and better states. And it's like, it's not easier, it was just more natural because you already had those insecurities, you already had those fears and doubts about self and the way you viewed yourself. That was actually more natural. It was just covered up by you not being attached to somebody for a little while and thinking that they were making you happy. And then you got attached. You gave them the role of making you happy, so then they had to make you unhappy. And if you gave them the role of making you happy, then you pretty much gave them the role of your other half, and you were incomplete before they made you until you found somebody that made you happy, when really it was like that before. So now you want to start to change how you view yourself. That way that doesn't really happen again. You want to change the, like, okay, and when I say change, I mean like you have to stop making them the priority. And you actually have to start being it. Now, I don't mind you calling yourself the priority. You should know that. But you actually have to be it. And you should check in with yourself, like, with your state of being. Okay, what is my state of being saying? Am I confident? Am I knowing? Am I fucking trusting myself? Am I trusting the world? Am I trusting my partner? Am I trusting this person? Like, what am I actually? Am I trusting my imagination? Am I trusting that it's inside first, outside second? Am I walking in this knowing? Or am I being fearful right now? Am I being desperate? Because remember, we're all connected. Everybody feels you. And check in with your state as much as you check in with your thoughts. And your thoughts are usually coming from the state. And you don't have to buy into thoughts. You're gonna get better thoughts when you clean up your state. Or my bad, not clean up, but get into a more stable one. And even if you had some that were not the most ideal, you don't need to buy into them. It'll be a lot easier because you're stable. So the idea is to get stable, start to change how you do things, and you can do this, like I said, a smoother transition by just not buying into the old, by not believing in it anymore. And really realizing that this person is not separate from you, and they were only reflecting back. All that's happening was their reflection of how you were being. How you were being, and you do not have to identify with how you were being anymore. And if you're not identified with that way of being, then whatever happened because you were identified with that way of being has to stop happening. And then if you are, then you start being different, being chosen. That's not my favorite one, but you get what I'm saying, because it's prominent. At least it used to be in the law of assumption communities. I'm chosen. I'm fucking a priority. I'm important. I'm perfect. Whatever. And you actually start feeling this way and living this way because you are perfect. And the only reason that you think, or the only reason you think you're not perfect, is because you think you're not perfect. And that is also just a thought. And when you stop buying into shit that's not you, and stop believing shit that's not ideal for you, or that's just really not you, then you can actually feel and accept that you're perfect, just the way you are right here, right now. And when you start being perfect, and you start fucking being a priority and living your life on your own terms, in your own frame, doing things you love to do, actually being it, then you're going to also see a reflection of that looks way different than the person that was doing the opposite. And then if person did text you and say something, it would be natural for you to be like, oh yeah, of course it did. Or it would be natural where you say, okay, I'm not worried about losing them because I don't really necessarily fucking need them. They're a preference in my life, and I feel really good right now, and I feel whole and perfect, and everything's good. And they're going to start reflecting this. Just like they did when you didn't feel so great about self, and when you didn't feel perfect, and you thought that they were perfect and you weren't. And you thought that they were cool and you weren't. And then they just showed you that you weren't, even though you'd already given that to yourself. Now you're doing it on the opposite side. A lot easier to do when you start just not believing not believing that way anymore. It's not about fighting. It's not about like, nope, I'm perfect. Like, it's not about that. It's about just really recognizing the illusion and like the insanity of identifying with anything other than what you are. Perfect. Anything like, and identifying with like shit that's like just absolutely shit. Like absolute shit. And then because you identify with shit, you got shit behavior from people and shit results out there. And then because you were identified with shit, you felt real separate. And then blame them, and it's like, oh, this whole thing's just happening to me. And it was just happening. It was a reflection of you. You start identifying with some, not even really about identifying, but you start being different. You're going to see different. You're going to see a different reflection, because that's all that's out there. That's it. That's all that's out there. It's reflection. So, anyway. Oh, wow. Okay. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. But listen, check in with your state of being. What are you actually being? What is your state of being saying? It is important. Don't let, like, if you've been trying to do something for a long time, you're like, I've been affirming, look at what your state of being saying. Are you saying you're a priority, or are you being one? Because I promise, if you start being a priority, you don't even have to say that you are one. What the fuck you need to convince yourself you're a priority for if you're being a priority? The fuck you need to convince yourself you're important for if you know you're important, and you walk around as the most important person in your life, because you are, because everything's coming from you, so you might as well go ahead and take on that role. What the fuck is there to be scared of if you're not buying into every thought? What the fuck is there to be scared of circumstance or whatever? If you know that, like, once, I'm sure you do by now, and that's about doing it. If you know that, hey, when I don't react, it's no longer true for me. If it's no longer true for me, then it's got to get the fuck up on out of here. And my favorite fucking technique of all is just saying, I don't give a fuck. I am going to be me. I'm going to do what I want, be what I want, and fucking live my life. That is my favorite technique. Dropping all obsession for everything and everyone, and just being you. And actually, like, when you do that, you can actually, like, oh, okay, actually, you can actually love properly. You can actually, like, see things clearly. So, anyway, I've rambled on long enough now, and I guess I'm gonna get up on off here. But I do love you guys. Check in with your state of being. It's being felt all the time. Be it. Be a priority, and you'll see people make a priority. Be the one that's living in the end. Oh, real fast, just a real quick one about, like, inner conversations. I should make a video about this. Keep it real simple. How would you be if you were already in a relationship with this person? If you're living in the end, what would your conversations be like? Answer that question. I was doing some one-on-ones, and we were talking about, like, the simplicity of it. Like, it's not so much about, like, they love me. It's like, what do you have for dinner, dude? What do we have for dinner? Oh, hey, do you want to, I just saw this new restaurant open up. You want to check it out this weekend? That's natural. That's normal stuff that people do in relationships. Having inner conversations with a person as if they're like, it's a normal thing. Not you trying to convince them that they love you. No, just be the priority. Have inner conversations from the end. Fucking check in with your state of being. Don't buy into unnecessary thought, and live your fucking life. Love you guys. See you soon.